Hey, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. You have Will here today. Hey, good, they spelled my name right this time. Wonderful. Have one pre-submitted question for today, but I don't see that user in yet. So if you've got anything, please feel free to ask. Oh, there we go. Go ahead, Radley. What do we have for you, sir?
Hey, Will. So recently I installed the Access Manager app. Um, and one of the reports in there is for group access. And it has a text at the top of that report. It says group permissions are generally tied to a project to ensure elements have proper access. Um, I have not done that previously. I have some items that are tied to a project. I don't know how that's done. How do I tie security to a project?
Interesting. So you downloaded the Access Manager?
Yep. Yeah, that one right there. I can.
Oh, interesting. I haven't used this one. I should know what this is. This team reports to me. I think this is our group management thing that they created. So just give me a sec here. I'll get this downloaded so we can know exactly what we're talking about here.
Okay.
All right, there we go. Something downloaded. Access Manager views, accounts and
Yep.
groups.
Permission. Yeah, so I did have to reach out to support and get another zip file of this to
Mm,
install it.
so okay. I think the general question is like they're saying like it's oh really? Oh, look at that. Permissions, access manager permissions. Oh, here
Oh,
you
there
go.
it is. Yep.
Group permissions are generally tied to a project to ensure the elements of the project access. The permissions marked in yellow show. Oh, interesting. Yeah. If you can actually just go to either design a repository or import export, and then there's an add to project action for the particular group. If you are using, if you're I guess if you're putting the group permission object with your project.
Oh, okay.
And so like
So,
really when you add like if you go to any folder, like so here's just a regular folder, right? And then you would add go to manage permissions
yeah.
and add a group permission here. You get like there you go, access manager group, sure, can use. If you can find this thing in folder view with hidden. And we should see group permission right there. So that's a group folder access right entity. And then this thing, it is, I don't know if the permission, yeah, I mean, it's pretty common to have that be part of the project. But if you could confirm if it's part of the project by just coming here and like adding it to a project. If it's already part of a project, you'd be able to see like the project name. These actions would be different. Like if I just added this to a project here, there's FFF. I don't want to actually commit it. I'm not connected. But then I came here, you'll see now it's going to show. I can kind of infer that based on the available
Yeah.
actions there.
Okay.
But
Very
that's how
good.
you can attach it to a project so that you
Okay.
can be sending the permissions as well as like the configurations when you deploy.
Awesome.
Now
Yep.
it doesn't send this is not the group, this is the permission. So it's tied to a group. So if your groups are not the same between your environments, which they wouldn't be unless you were sending your groups as part of your project or had exported and imported your groups prior,
Yeah.
it probably won't do you any good.
Okay.
And if you're already configured, it might not be to do this like you've already set up like because you went and created different groups like on
Yeah.
different environments, then it might be more work than it's worth the effort to try to fix up what you have.
Okay. Good to know. I appreciate it. Well, thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Is that everything?
That's it. Yep.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, how do I lower your hand? Okay. Still don't see. Let me find our pre-submitted question. As always, if you guys have anything, please let me know. Don't have very many. I think we have one pre-submitted question here I'm trying to track down, but I don't see that user's on the meeting yet. So hang tight for a minute. Oh, there's Manal. All right, Manal, you got your question. How to create a specific filter on the dashboard for a drop-down list? Can you give me a little bit more information about what you're looking for there?
Yes. So I have like, I wanted to create a filter where, for example, it's like on the report, I have a state field which has multiple states. So usually it has like about 1,000 records, and the
Mm-hmm.
business users wanted kind of like a filter on the top that
Mm-hmm.
has like a state, and you can select like, for example, Texas, then it should only, in the bottom, it should only show like Texas records with like state Texas.
Okay.
And I also found it on the decision side, like the project, but it just doesn't work with the drop-down list. The name was example lab filter report on page, but it just didn't work with the drop downs. So if it's possible to get it with like drop down list, that would be great.
Let me see here if I can find this thing.
Mhm.
So you're looking for, so what's the name of it, of the filter reports
Project?
on a page?
Yes.
Okay, let's see here. I can get this on my local here. Yeah, we got some App Store work and some example lab work. This is great. Okay, so there's example lab. Here's dashboard. So this is a text field, I guess. I don't actually know what it's filtering on. Probably admin. Yeah, okay. And so the control is the drop down list. Like you want to populate it.
Yes. Like so it's like a
Hmm.
drop down list report. So for example, rather than me typing actual email address,
Hmm.
if I can just select
Yeah.
a
Let's see
state
here.
from the
Yeah,
account.
so we got dashboard. So in this thing, let's see. This is probably type string, right? Address contains string. Yeah, so here we could change this. So it's email address contains, that's the actual filter name. Let's look at our report. So it's account report. Email address contains, email address contains, email address contains is the report parameter. And then what is this?
And
Email
do you,
address colon?
yeah, that's where I was getting confused
What?
because even when I do like a single string, for me, it doesn't search anything up.
Oh, I see. Weird. This is the select from flow. This just looks like a static value. The colon is throwing me off. Okay, I think we could do this. So like here, if I change this, right? So I'm gonna go fetch entities and results. I'll change this to account. And then I'll fetch everything. And let me edit this. I'm gonna delete this thing after I copy its ridiculous name. I don't understand why someone put a colon in this. That's I guess a different question. So here's a drop-down list. Still make the type string.
And can we
Actually,
have them static? Like for example, like if you put rather than
shouldn't
using the account.
it shouldn't make a difference here where the data comes from. Bear with me. Let me just see if I can get this to work, and then we can talk
Okay.
about it really quick. So here's email address. List input source is data name. Selected item, I'll use that same. Oh, I won't be able to, so I'll just say selected account. I'll have to map this a bit. All accounts. Okay, save this. And then I'll map in all accounts from my fetch entity step. And then selected account, I will ignore. And then in here, I will map in selected account email address. This should work, I think. Let me save this, come back here, close this. Here's, go to here. Here's my drop-down list. And there's admin and search. Yeah. So I'm not sure why I mean, you're still, all I did, I just kept in this example, I just kept the dashboard report parameter the same.
Mm-hmm.
Right now here, I could change this again and just make this like a static list of strings if I wanted to. I have to kind of change some things, but here, if I change this to string, yeah, selected state, right? And then list input source, I could do data name, and I could define the list. You'd probably want that state list to live somewhere else, but if I leave this as is and I come here and do constant, I could say, oops, sorry, hold on. Something's wrong
Static
here.
list.
Data name, selected state, string, list account. This would be all states, I guess. Let's try this again. Save. There's all states, constant. There we go. And I could do A, B, C. Right, I'm just gonna make this one be admin just so I don't break anything. I'm gonna ignore my selected. And then here, I need to come back and this would be selected state. So if I do that, if I make those changes and come back here and refresh, I should have this and I can search and it'll keep that remaining the
Okay.
same.
And one more thing, also on the folder ID in the flow that they're using, mine
Mhm.
looks a little different. Has it been something changed into the new, like with the version 8? Because now like my folder ID is completely, it doesn't look like at all like how
Mm.
they have it.
Yeah, we changed IDs around 8.8. So it's gonna probably look all smushed together. It'll look like here's a folder, this folder I created, so yours probably looks closer to that. So we did change
Yes.
folder IDs, but
Hmm.
the how folder IDs are created, yes. So there's it looking different as expected.
So
It
it's
doesn't
completely okay
matter.
if I use that.
Yes, there's no
Awesome.
difference. The old IDs still work, and then but new IDs are created with this new ULID format, like
Okay,
is what you see
gotcha.
here. We switched away from GUIDs a couple releases ago.
Sounds good. And then one last question was if you go into the dashboard, that there's a page that they have.
Hmm.
So I think you have to go into it to see it. Let me
Hmm.
see. So if you click on one of the other report source, here it says the default folder. Is that
You can
which
ignore that.
specific?
That doesn't do anything.
Oh,
Yeah,
it doesn't?
this doesn't do anything. What you're the important point here is that if we look back at this flow, is that
Mm-hmm.
this folder ID, and so this needs to be exactly what the report filter takes. So if you look at this report, if I were to edit this report, this is exactly what that takes, right? Like that property name and that filter name needs to be exact, and it needs to be get values from other reports. And so you can see that's why this has to be like case, it has to be spelled exactly the same. And then you
Oh,
can give it a value, and then that folder ID will
mm-hmm.
match the folder ID of the report. So on dat, this will be the folder ID of the page running that report. You need to make sure both of those are there. Now you can get that, like you could change the behavior
Mm-hmm.
of this flow, which is probably default flow. Yeah, you could change this to like if I search for folder, you could use like folder aware flow,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can get that you can get that dynamically. Now that I've changed that, I can get folder ID, so I don't have to hard code that if I don't want to. That should still be a good change. But you need to make sure that filter name matches exactly. The filter is set up to get values from other reports, and then
Gotcha.
the folder is correct.
And I can have like multiple filters, right? For example, in my extension data, if I also wanted to do it for group ID,
For sure.
first and last name, I will just have to make sure that that report ID is correct because I don't even have to input an extension data in that flow or like my process folder to get the
No,
fields in.
it really is just sending whatever like this reloaded itself. I should fix that, but like it's just sending this string into a string filter, right?
Mhm.
On this report. That's all it's doing.
Okay, that sounds good.
It doesn't even know the data types associated here. It's a string or number or an integer or something.
Okay, got it. That helps a lot. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you bet.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody else have any questions for us today? Yeah, go ahead, Manal, if you have another question.
One quick question was, is there any way for decisions emails to go out and then the users can reply to them?
Yeah, if you look
Mhm.
in our normal docs, should be, if you search for email response, handling email response replies here, this allows you, oh, let's see if I can scroll. Yeah. Yeah, there's links and then inline response here. So you can build, you can set up your email
Mhm.
response, let's see, to take, come on, go back. There's links, email responses. There's links and there's replies. If I look at an assign, let me just change this to assigned here. And then we come down to email. Yeah, email response handling, email handling. You've got default, which is both response only or links only. So if you want someone to be able to reply with like approved,
Mhm.
like the text approved, and then have that managed, yeah, this doc is what you're going to want to use here, this email response handling. And
Gotcha.
this should tell you how there's like you've got to configure the assignment and you've got to set up like a special scheduled job. If I don't save this, there is a type of scheduled job here. Jobs and events scheduled jobs. You'll see there is a email workflow response job. You'd have to set that up
Mhm.
so that it can read the emails, replies, and then process them for you.
Gotcha. But there's no way like where the user, for example, there's an email that I send out, fill it out with your name, email, and your address. And then they actually go into like the fields on the email. And
Mm.
then fill it out. Is there any way
Like
to do it?
embedded in the email?
Hmm.
No, not that we know of today.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Or they have to have like an assignment, right, in order to fill out the form or like fill out those details.
I mean, you could have a link in the email that they open to like a guest session decisions form that they then fill out, right?
Hmm.
Which is you just create a link, like an API link to a flow with a form in it. But like if you want it embedded in the actual body of the email, there's no way, we don't have the ability to support that today.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, you're welcome. You bet. All right. Let me know if you have any other questions. All right, I think we'll go ahead and call it a day. The attendees list is dropping, and I don't see any other questions being put in the queue. So last call here for questions if you have any. No, we'll go ahead and end. And all righty. All right, thanks everybody. See you same time tomorrow.